He was a tough biker who'd seen it all on the road. When he spotted a terrified child crying alone on a street corner, separated from his mother with no way to find her, he stopped to help. What he didn't know, this one simple act of kindness would unite his entire biker crew in a search that would change everything. The city swallowed the sun whole, leaving behind streaks of orange that bled into purple across the skyline. Rico killed his engine outside Manny's cafe, the rumble of his Harley fading into the evening chaos of honking taxis and distant sirens. Behind him, 8 more bikes pulled up in formation, their riders peeling off helmets and stretching road-weary muscles. 30 miles for sick kids, Maya said, dismounting with a groan. My back's gonna hate me tomorrow. Your back hates you every day, someone called out, drawing tired laughs from the group. Rico barely heard them. Something felt off. His eyes swept the street corner by the subway entrance, where shadows pooled thick between the streetlights. Then he saw it. A small figure hunched against the grimy tile wall, shoulders shaking. A kid, alone, crying. Rico's gut twisted. He'd seen enough streets, enough dark corners, to know when something was wrong. He started walking before his brain caught up, boots hitting pavement in long strides. Behind him, the chatter died as the others noticed. The boy couldn't have been more than 8. His school uniform was rumpled, tie hanging loose, and his face was buried in his hands. When Rico's shadow fell over him, the kid looked up with red, swollen eyes that went wide with fear. Hey, easy, Rico said, crouching down to eye level. I'm not gonna hurt you. What's wrong? The boy's lip trembled. They took it. They took everything. Maya appeared at Rico's shoulder, her voice soft. Took what, sweetie? My backpack, the words tumbled out between hitching breaths. 2 big kids, teenagers, they just grabbed it and ran. I yelled but nobody helped, and now I don't know what to do because, his voice cracked. Because my mom's number was in there, and I can't remember it, and my medicine. Rico's blood went cold. Medicine? The boy nodded frantically, pulling up his shirt sleeve. A medical alert bracelet caught the streetlight. Diabetic, insulin dependent. My insulin kit's in the bag, the boy whispered. And my emergency sugar tablets. My mom always packs them. I was supposed to meet her at Union Station after robotics club, but I got off at the wrong stop because I was reading, and then those boys. He choked on a sob. Maya's hand found Rico's shoulder, squeezing hard. They both understood. This wasn't about a stolen backpack. This was about a clock they couldn't see, ticking down inside this kid's body. What's your name? Rico asked. Daniel. Okay, Daniel. I'm Rico. That's Maya. These are my friends. He gestured to the cluster of bikers now surrounding them. Their leather and tattoos probably terrifying to most kids, but right now forming a protective wall around this boy. We're gonna get your bag back. I promise you that. How? Daniel's voice was so small. Rico stood, his mind already racing through possibilities, connections, old debts. When did they take it? How long ago? Maybe 20 minutes? I don't know. I tried chasing them, but they were too fast. 20 minutes. In this city, stolen goods moved like water through cracks. By now that bag could be anywhere, pawned, dumped, sold to another crew. But 20 minutes also meant the thieves probably hadn't gone far. Teenage punks didn't run sophisticated operations. They grabbed and sprinted to the nearest place they felt safe. What did they look like? Maya asked. Daniel wiped his nose. One had a red hoodie. The other had a shaved head with a tattoo right here. He pointed to his temple. Like a spider or something. Rico felt the others exchange glances. This neighborhood had territories, invisible lines that everyone who lived here understood. Red hoodie and temple tattoos meant one thing. Wannabe gangsters, probably working for someone bigger, testing their street cred. Jake, Marcus, hit the market on 5th, Rico ordered. That's where the small-timers fence stuff fast. Tommy, check the skate park by the old factory. Rest of you, fan out. Ask around. Somebody saw something. The bikers scattered without question, engines roaring back to life. Rico pulled out his phone, scrolling to a contact he hadn't called in months. The name made his jaw tighten. Vince. You sure about that? Maya asked quietly. She knew the history. No, Rico admitted. But Vince still has ears everywhere. If anyone knows where stolen goods move in this district, it's him. The call connected. Well, Vince's voice oozed through the speaker. Rico Martinez. Thought you went legit. I need information. Two teens, red hoodie and a spider tat, grabbed a kid's backpack 20 minutes ago near the subway. Where would they take it? Vince laughed, cold and sharp. And why would I tell you? Because I'm asking. That's not how this works anymore, Hermano. You left, remember? Walked away from the family. Rico's free hand clenched. This is about a sick kid, Vince. Diabetic. His medicine's in that bag. Silence stretched across the line. For a moment, Rico thought he'd hung up. Then, Spider Tat. That's probably Skinny Pete's little cousin. They've been running grab-and-dash jobs all week. Word is they're moving product through the industrial district. Old cement factory, maybe, or one of the warehouses by the docks. Which one? I don't run charity services, Rico. You want more, you come see me. Face to face. Like the old days, the line went dead. Rico stared at his phone, a familiar anger simmering in his chest. Of course Vince would make this difficult. Of course he'd use a kid's emergency to drag Rico back into that world. We'll find another way, Maya said. But before Rico could answer, Daniel made a small sound, a whimper that turned Rico's blood to ice. The boy was swaying slightly, his face suddenly pale and slick with sweat. Daniel. Maya dropped beside him. Hey, look at me. I feel weird, Daniel mumbled. His eyes weren't quite focusing. Dizzy. When did you last eat? Rico demanded. Lunch. But I was supposed to have a snack at 3:30. Mom always makes me. But I forgot because of robotics, and then, his words were starting to slur at the edges. Maya looked at Rico, and in her eyes he saw the same calculation he was making. They had hours, maybe less, before this kid's blood sugar dropped into dangerous territory. Maybe they could get him to a hospital, but without insurance information, without a parent present, without knowing his exact medication needs, it was a risk. No, they needed that bag. They needed it fast. And there was only one person who could point them to it. Rico made his decision. Stay with him, he told Maya. Keep him talking, keep him awake. If he gets worse, there's a pharmacy 2 blocks east. They'll have glucose tablets at least. Where are you going? Rico was already walking toward his bike. To see an old friend. The engine roared to life beneath him, and as he pulled away from the curb, he caught Daniel's frightened reflection in his mirror. A kid who trusted strangers in leather jackets because he had no choice. Rico twisted the throttle harder. He had promises to keep. The industrial district looked like the city had given up on it. Streetlights flickered or didn't work at all. Graffiti covered every surface like scars. Rico's headlight cut through the darkness as he navigated streets he knew too well, streets he'd sworn he'd never ride again. His phone buzzed. Maya. Daniel's getting worse. Hands are shaking. He keeps saying he's fine, but he's not fine, Rico. I'm 5 minutes out from Vince's place. Hold on. We don't have 5 minutes to spare. Rico knew she was right. He pulled over, engine idling, and made a quick call. Jake, what VE you got? Market was a bust. Wait, no? I found a guy who saw 2 kids matching the description. Said they were bragging about a score, headed toward the docks about 15 minutes ago. Mentioned something about dropping it off for Vince. Everything pointed back to him. Of course it did. Vince controlled half the underground trade in this district. If those kids grabbed the bag, they probably didn't even know what was in it. They just knew Vince paid cash for random goods. No questions asked. Marcus, Tommy, converge on the docks, Rico ordered through the group chat. Old warehouse district. Be smart about it. Don't go in alone. Just eyes, understand? I'm meeting with Vince now. Tommy's voice crackled back. Warehouse district is big, man. Which building? Good question. Rico had one advantage. He used to run with Vince. He knew the crew's patterns, their hiding spots. Try the cement factory first. Southeast corner building, the one with the blue door. That's where Vince used to stash hot merchandise. On it, Rico ended the call and stared at the dark street ahead. The old garage where Vince operated was 3 blocks away. A legitimate auto shop by day, something else entirely by night. Part of Rico wished he could turn around, find another way. But Daniel's pale, sweating face kept appearing in his mind. He accelerated. The garage's bay doors were half open, spilling yellow light onto the cracked pavement. Rico could see figures moving inside. hear the clank of tools, the bass thump of music. He parked directly in front, making no effort to hide his arrival. That was the thing about facing your past. You couldn't sneak up on it. Vince appeared in the doorway before Rico even dismounted. He looked the same, lean and coiled like a spring, with that same predatory grin that never reached his eyes. Behind him, 3 other men emerged from the shadows. Rico recognized 2 of them, Carlos and Benny. Old crew. Couldn't stay away, could you? Vince called out. Rico walked forward, hands visible, non-threatening. I need that bag, Vince. Straight to business. No, how've you been? No, sorry, I abandoned everyone. I didn't abandon anyone. I changed my life. Sure. Joined a charity biker club, started helping little old ladies cross streets. Vince's tone dripped with mockery. Real hero stuff. The bag, Rico repeated. Kid's got diabetes. Without his insulin. I know, Vince cut him off. You told me on the phone. Here's the thing, though. Those kids brought me a backpack tonight. Nice one, too. I haven't looked inside yet, but they said it had some medical stuff in it. Figured I could sell it to one of the clinics. Rico's hands tightened into fists. You can't be serious. I'm always serious about business. Vince stepped closer. But you know what? I'm also sentimental. We go way back, you and me. So I'll make you a deal. What kind of deal? Vince's smile widened. The kid's bag is here. But I need something from you first. Proof that you're not too soft, that all that charity work hasn't made you forget where you came from. I'm not interested in proving anything to you. Then the kid doesn't get his medicine, Vince shrugged. Simple as that. Carlos shifted uncomfortably behind Vince. Man, it's just a kid's bag. Shut up, Vince snapped without looking back. His eyes never left Rico. Here's the test. There's a route we used to run, remember? Through the old industrial zone, ending at the rail bridge. You complete it tonight, right now, and you can have the bag. You chicken out or crash. I keep it. Rico's mind raced. That route was suicide. Broken glass, collapsed fencing, unstable ground. He'd crashed there once, years ago, broken 3 ribs, and nearly destroyed his bike. That was when he'd finally decided to leave this life. That's insane, Rico said. That's the deal, Vince crossed his arms. Unless you want to call the cops? Oh wait, you can't. Because the kid doesn't have his mom's number, and by the time the authorities sort everything out, what happens to him? Rico's phone buzzed again. He didn't need to check it to know it was Maya with another update about Daniel's deteriorating condition. Every second he stood here arguing was a second that kid didn't have. Fine, Rico said. I'll do your stupid race. But when I win, you hand over the bag immediately. When you win, Vince echoed, amused. Sure, hermano. When you win. Rico turned back to his bike, but Vince's voice stopped him. One more thing. Some of my boys will be on the route. Just to make sure you don't take any shortcuts, his grin turned sharp. Like old times, right? Rico didn't answer. He just started his engine, the roar drowning out everything else. He had a promise to keep and a ghost route to conquer. Behind him, Vince was already laughing. Rico didn't head straight to the starting point of the route. He couldn't. Not yet. He pulled into an empty lot 2 blocks away and killed the engine. His hands were shaking, not from fear, but from rage. Vince knew exactly what he was doing. That route wasn't just dangerous. It was symbolic. It was the place where Rico had broken, where he decided that living fast and dying young wasn't as romantic as everyone pretended. His phone lit up. Tommy. We found the cement factory. Blue door, just like you said. There's movement inside, but we can't see much. Want us to go in? No. Wait for my signal. Vince confirmed he has the bag. I need to handle something first. Handle what? Rico closed his eyes. Just stay put. I'll call you in 20 minutes. He hung up before Tommy could argue. Then Maya called. Rico, where are you? Daniel just threw up. That's a bad sign. We need that insulin now. I know. I'm working on it. Work faster, her voice cracked. He's asking for his mom. He keeps apologizing like this is his fault. Something in Rico's chest twisted. He thought about his own son, 7 years old, living 3 states away with his ex-wife because Rico's life had been too unstable, too dangerous. He hadn't seen the kid in 4 months. Hadn't earned the right to. Maybe this was his chance to earn something back. 30 minutes, Rico said. I promise. You keep making promises you might not be able to keep. I know Rico started his bike, but I'm going to keep this one. The industrial zone looked like a graveyard of civilization. Abandoned buildings with shattered windows. Rusted machinery lying in pieces. The route started at an old factory gate and wound through 3 miles of hell. Broken pavement, debris fields, tight corners around collapsing structures, and finally the rail bridge, a narrow, rusted crossing over a 40-foot drop into a concrete drainage canal. Vince was waiting at the starting line with Carlos and 2 others on bikes. They looked ready to race alongside him, or against him. Rico couldn't tell which yet. Thought you might back out, Vince said. I don't back out. You did once. Vince gestured toward the route ahead. You crashed right before the bridge. Broke some ribs. Looked at me and said, I can't do this anymore. Then you just left. Walked away from all of us. I didn't walk away from you. I walked away from dying for nothing. Vince's expression hardened. We were brothers. We were kids playing at being tough. There's a difference. For a moment, something flickered in Vince's eyes. Hurt, maybe, or anger. But it vanished behind his usual mask. Enough talking. You know the route. Make it to the bridge, cross it, and the bag is yours. My boys will keep pace. Try anything funny, and the deal's off. Rico revved his engine. Where's the bag now? Safe place. Carlos knows where. When you finish, if you finish, he'll get it for you. Vince raised his hand. On my mark. 3, 2 inch. Rico's mind emptied. All the rage, all the fear, all the history between them, it fell away. There was only the route ahead, the rumble of the engine beneath him, and somewhere across the city, a kid named Daniel running out of time. 1. Rico exploded forward. The first stretch was straight, but littered with broken bottles and twisted metal. Rico's headlight caught the glint of glass everywhere. He wove through the debris field, muscle memory taking over. Behind him, he heard the other bikes gaining. A corner appeared, too tight, too fast. Rico braked hard, leaning into the turn until his knee nearly scraped pavement. One of Vince's riders tried to cut him off on the inside, but misjudged. His bike clipped a concrete barrier and spun out. Rico heard the crash, but didn't look back. 2 riders left on his tail. The route narrowed between 2 buildings. Rico accelerated into the gap, feeling the walls close in on both sides. His mirrors scraped brick. The bikes behind him were forced into single file, buying him seconds. Then he saw it. Someone had strung a chain across the path at chest height. Rico's heart stopped. He had maybe 3 seconds. Not enough time to brake. He dropped flat against his bike, feeling the chain whistle over his helmet with inches to spare. Behind him, Carlos shouted a warning, but the second rider wasn't fast enough. The chain caught him across the chest and threw him backward off his bike. What the hell, Vince? Carlos yelled into his radio. Just keeping it interesting, came Vince's laughing reply. Rico's jaw clenched. This wasn't a test. This was Vince trying to hurt him, maybe even kill him, all wrapped up in the excuse of a challenge. The route opened into a wide debris field, the place where Rico had crashed years ago. Rusted rebar jutted from the ground like teeth. Old machinery parts lay half-buried in dirt and broken concrete. And beyond it all, rising against the night sky, was the rail bridge. Narrow, rusted, missing sections of railing. Rico's old crash site was somewhere in this field. He didn't remember exactly where. The memory was a blur of pain and regret. But he wasn't that person anymore. He gunned the throttle and aimed straight for the bridge, Carlos still on his tail. You'll never make it, Carlos shouted. Rico didn't answer. He just rode faster, the bridge growing larger in his vision. This was where his old life had ended. Tonight, it was where someone else's life would be saved. The rail bridge stretched ahead like a rusted spine. In daylight, it might have looked merely dangerous. At night, with only his headlight cutting through the darkness, it looked like a passage to nowhere. Rico slowed as he approached. The bridge was maybe 60 feet long, barely wide enough for his bike. The rails on either side were gone in places, just jagged metal stumps. Below, the concrete drainage canal waited, empty and hungry. Carlos pulled up beside him, breathing hard. You don't have to do this, man. It's not safe. That bridge is falling apart. Then why did Vince make it part of the route? Carlos looked away. That was answer enough. Rico rolled his shoulders, steadied his breathing. He'd crossed narrow paths before. Balance was about focus, about not looking at what could go wrong. He twisted the throttle gently and moved onto the bridge. The metal groaned under his weight. Every instinct screamed at him to go faster, get across quickly. But speed meant instability. He kept his pace steady, eyes locked on the far end. The bike's tires crunched over rust and loose rivets. Halfway across, a section of the left railing was completely missing. Rico could see straight down to the concrete below. Don't look. Eyes forward. The bridge shuddered. For a heart-stopping moment, Rico felt the metal sag beneath him. Then it held. 10 feet from the end, he accelerated. The bike lurched forward and cleared the bridge onto solid ground. Rico let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. Carlos came across behind him, slower, more cautious. When he reached the other side, he pulled off his helmet. That was insane. You actually did it. The bag, Rico said. Now, Carlos hesitated. He reached for his radio, then stopped. His expression shifted, uncomfortable, guilty. Carlos. The bag. Look, man. I don't know how to tell you this. Ice flooded Rico's veins. Tell me what? Vince doesn't have it. He never did. The world tilted. What? The kids who grabbed it, they didn't bring it to Vince. They stashed it somewhere else first. Vince was bluffing, trying to get you to come back, to prove some kind of point. I just found out from Benny 5 minutes ago. Rico's vision went red. Every second he'd spent on this suicide route, Daniel had been getting sicker. And it was all for nothing. Vince had lied. Where is it? Rico's voice came out quiet, dangerous. I don't know. Vince is trying to find out. He's got people asking around. Rico grabbed Carlos by his jacket. People are asking around? That kid is dying. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't know Vince was lying until. Rico shoved him away and pulled out his phone. His hands were shaking with rage. He called Vince. The line rang once, twice. Congrats, Hermano. Vince's voice was smooth, pleased. You made it across. Knew you had it in you. You lied about the bag. Silence. Then, Carlos has a big mouth. Where is it, Vince? I'm working on that. See, those kids got scared after they took it. Thought maybe they grabbed something too hot. So they hid it before coming to me. They're being difficult about revealing the location. You're telling me you've been wasting my time while a kid. I've been reminding you where you came from. Vince's voice turned sharp. You think you're better than us now? You think putting on a leather vest and riding for charity erases what you were? I needed to see if you still had it, if you were still. Rico hung up. His entire body was rigid with fury. He'd risked his life for Vince's ego trip. Meanwhile, Daniel was. His phone rang. Maya. Rico, we're at the pharmacy. They gave us glucose tablets and he's stable for now, but it's not enough. He needs his actual insulin. His blood sugar's too high and it's not coming down fast enough with the tablets. The pharmacist says without his prescription information, she can't give us more. We need that bag. I know. I'm working on it. Work faster. Maya never yelled, but she was yelling now. This kid is terrified and I don't know how much time we have. Rico forced himself to think through the rage. The kids stashed the bag before seeing Vince. Where would scared teenagers hide something? Carlos, he said, turning. These kids, what are their names? Pete's cousin. Name's Junior. And his friend, goes by Taz. Where do they hang out when they're not working? There's an old arcade on Brennan Street. Underground spot. They run cards games there sometimes. An arcade. A place teenagers would feel safe. A place with lockers, maybe, or hiding spots. Rico was already on his bike. Call Tommy and Marcus. Tell them to meet me at Brennan Street. And Carlos, he paused. Tell Vince if he wants to make this right, now's his chance. Carlos nodded, looking miserable. Rico didn't wait for a response. He tore down the street, leaving the bridge and Vince's games behind. The route had been a waste of time, but he'd learned something important. Vince was never going to help him. This was on Rico now. Only him. His phone showed the time, 9:47 p.m. Daniel had been without his insulin for over 2 hours. The arcade was 15 minutes away. Rico made it in 8. Brennan Street was a forgotten artery in the city's underbelly. Half the storefronts were boarded up, the other half looked like they should be. Rico spotted the arcade immediately, not because of any sign, but because he recognized the type. Basement level, narrow stairwell leading down, a single red bulb over the entrance. Places like this didn't advertise. Tommy and Marcus were already there, bikes parked in the shadows. Tommy looked wired, ready for trouble. Marcus just looked worried. Maya called, Marcus said. Kid's not doing good. She's trying to keep him calm, but... I know. Rico started down the stairs. Stay close. We're not here to fight, but these kids might not see it that way. The arcade was exactly what Rico expected. Dim lighting, old machines lining the walls, the smell of cigarettes and stale beer. About a dozen people scattered around, some playing cards, others watching fights on a fuzzy TV screen. Hip-hop pounded from a speaker somewhere. Every head turned when Rico walked in. He spotted them immediately. Two teenagers in the corner, hunched over a card game. Red hoodie, shaved head with a spider tattoo. The same ones Daniel described. The kid with the spider tattoo, Junior, saw Rico and bolted. He made it 3 steps before Tommy blocked the back exit. Marcus covered the stairs. The arcade went silent except for the music. Easy, Rico said, hands up. Nobody needs to get hurt. I just want the backpack you took earlier. Junior's eyes darted around, looking for an escape that didn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. You grabbed it from a kid near the subway. About 8 years old, school uniform. Where is it? The kid in the red hoodie, Taz, stood up slowly. You cops. Do I look like a cop? Rico took a step closer. That bag has medicine in it. The kid who owns it is sick. Really sick. Without it, he could die. So I'm going to ask one more time. Where is it? Taz and Junior exchanged glances. Junior's tough guy facade cracked. We didn't know about any medicine. We just saw an easy grab. I don't care why you took it. I care where it is now. We don't have it anymore, Junior said. Rico's heart sank. Where is it? We stashed it. In a locker at the bus station on 3rd Avenue. We were going to come back for it later, sell whatever was inside piece by piece. But then word got out that Vince was looking for it, and we got scared. Locker number 247. Keys in my pocket. Rico held out his hand. Junior hesitated, then slowly reached into his jeans and pulled out a small brass key. Rico snatched it. Behind him, the arcade door burst open. Vince walked in with 4 men. His expression was dark, dangerous. So this is where everyone ended up. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. I don't have time for this, Rico said. Make time. Vince moved to block the stairs. See, I've been thinking. You embarrassed me tonight, Rico. Made me look like a liar in front of my own crew. Carlos told everyone I didn't have the bag. Now people are talking. You are a liar. You wasted hours of my time. I was teaching you a lesson. A kid is dying because of your lesson. Rico's voice echoed off the walls. Get out of my way. Vince's jaw tightened. For a moment, Rico thought he might actually move. Then Vince smiled, cold and humorless. You want to leave? Go through me. Tommy and Marcus moved up beside Rico. The arcade patrons were slowly backing away, sensing violence about to break loose. Junior and Tez looked terrified. Rico's phone buzzed. He didn't look at it, but he knew it was Maya. Knew that every second he stood here arguing was another second Daniel didn't have. Last chance, Vince. Walk away. Or what? You'll call your charity biker friends? You'll. Rico moved before Vince finished talking. Not a punch. He didn't have time to fight. He swept low, grabbed one of the metal folding chairs, and swung it hard into the stack of wooden crates beside Vince's crew. The crates toppled, creating a barrier and momentary chaos. Go! Rico shouted to Tommy and Marcus. They bolted for the stairs. Vince's men tried to grab them, but Marcus shoulder-checked one into an arcade machine. Tommy vaulted over an overturned table. Rico was right behind them. Vince lunged, catching Rico's jacket. You're not leaving. Rico spun, breaking the grip, and shoved Vince backward into his own men. I'm done with you. I'm done with all of this. He hit the stairs 3 at a time, emerged into the night air, and ran for his bike. Behind him, he could hear shouting, footsteps. Vince was coming. Rico's engine roared to life. Tommy and Marcus were already peeling out. Rico twisted the throttle and shot into the street just as Vince appeared at the top of the stairs, furious and screaming something Rico couldn't hear over the engine noise. It didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was the brass key in his pocket and the bus station on 3rd Avenue. Rico checked his phone at a red light. Maya's text was short, blood sugar dangerously high. Hurry. The light turned green. Rico went faster. The bus station loomed ahead, a concrete fortress of fluorescent lights and empty benches. Rico ditched his bike in a loading zone and sprinted inside. Tommy and Marcus were seconds behind him. The main terminal was mostly empty at this hour. A few homeless people sleeping on benches. A janitor mopping floors. A security guard who looked half asleep at his post. Rico found the lockers along the west wall, rows of dented metal doors with combination locks and key slots. He scanned the numbers: 245, 246, 247. His hands shook as he inserted the key. The locker opened. Inside was Daniel's backpack, blue with cartoon rockets on it. Rico grabbed it and unzipped the main compartment. Medical supplies, carefully organized in clear pouches. Insulin pens, glucose meter, test strips, emergency glucagon kit. Everything labeled in neat handwriting. Daniel's mother had packed this with precision and love. Rico's throat tightened. He pulled out his phone. Maya, I have it. Where are you? Still at the pharmacy parking lot. Rico, her voice broke. He's barely conscious. We need to get him to a hospital. I'm coming. Stay with him. I'm 10 minutes out. Make it 5. Rico ran for the exit, Tommy and Marcus flanking him. They burst through the doors into the night air. And stopped. Vince's crew was waiting. 5 bikes blocking the exit, engines idling. Vince sat in the center, arms crossed. In the harsh parking lot lights, his face looked skeletal, hollow. You really thought I'd let you just ride away? Vince called out. Move, Rico said. His voice was flat, emotionless. All the anger had burned away, leaving only cold determination. I'm not asking. That bag. Hand it over. Are you insane? There's a kid. I don't care about the kid. Vince's voice cracked. I care that you chose him over me. Over us. You really are that far gone, aren't you? Ready to throw away everything for some random stranger. Rico stared at him, really looked at him, and suddenly he understood. Vince wasn't angry about the bag or the chase. He was angry that Rico had found something worth caring about more than the old life. Something Vince had never found. Get out of my way, Rico said quietly. No. Behind Rico, Tommy muttered. We could probably punch through on the right side. An engine roared from behind Vince's line. Carlos appeared, pulling up beside Vince. Let him go. Vince turned, shocked. What? I said let him go. Carlos cut his engine. This is stupid, Vince. It's a kid's medicine. We're not monsters. Stay out of this. No, another bike pulled up. Benny, the third member of Vince's inner circle. Carlos is right. This isn't what we do. We're not about hurting kids. Vince looked around at his crew. 2 more riders were nodding, looking uncomfortable. The line was fracturing. You're all soft, Vince spat. All of you. Fine. Go. Run to your precious charity case. He revved his engine and pulled aside, creating a gap. Rico didn't hesitate. He shot through the opening, Tommy and Marcus right behind him. In his mirror, he saw Vince sitting alone in the parking lot, his crew scattered and uncertain around him. But Rico couldn't think about that now. The city blurred past. Red lights became suggestions. Traffic laws became obstacles to navigate. Rico's bike screamed through intersections, wove between cars, took shortcuts through alleys. His GPS showed 7 minutes to the pharmacy. He made it in 4. The parking lot was lit by a single streetlight. Maya's bike was parked near the pharmacy entrance, and beside it, Daniel was on the ground, Maya kneeling beside him. Even from a distance, Rico could see the kid was in bad shape. His skin had a grayish tint. His eyes were barely open. Rico jumped off his bike before it fully stopped, the backpack clutched in his hands. Maya. She looked up, relief flooding her face. Thank God. I've got him positioned for recovery, but he needs insulin now. Rico dropped beside them, already unzipping the medical pouch. His hands, steady during the entire chase, now trembled as he pulled out an insulin pen. I don't know how to. I do. Maya took it, her movements confident. She'd been a paramedic before joining the club. Daniel, can you hear me? We've got your medicine. Daniel's eyes fluttered. Mom, we'll get you to your mom. First we need to fix your sugar. This is going to pinch. Maya checked the pen, adjusted the dosage dial, and administered the injection into Daniel's thigh. 10 seconds that felt like hours. Then they waited. Daniel's breathing was shallow. His lips were dry and cracked. Rico found himself holding the kid's hand without thinking about it, squeezing gently. "Come on," Rico whispered. "Come on, kid. Fight. 30 seconds. A minute." Daniel's eyes opened wider. He took a deeper breath. "There we go," Maya said, checking his pulse. "That's it. Stay with us." Color started returning to Daniel's face. Not much, but enough. His fingers squeezed Rico's hand back. "My mom," Daniel whispered. "I want my mom." "We'll find her," Rico promised. "What's her name? Can you remember?" "Sarah. Parker." Each word was effort. "She works at Union Station. Information desk." Rico was already dialing information. "Get me Union Station, information desk." The call connected. A woman's voice. "Union Station, how can I need Sarah Parker. It's about her son Daniel. It's an emergency." A pause. Then, "This is Sarah. Who is this? Is Daniel okay?" "He's okay now. He's safe. But he needs you." The sound she made was half sob, half prayer. "Where is he?" "Greenfield Pharmacy on Morrison Avenue," Rico said. "He's stable, but he needs you." "How fast can you get here?" 20 minutes. "Maybe 15 if," Sarah's voice caught. "Is he really okay? What happened?" "He'll tell you himself when you get here. Just drive safe." Rico hung up and looked at Maya. She was monitoring Daniel's pulse, checking his eyes with a small flashlight. The kid looked exhausted, but more alert now. "Better?" Rico asked. Daniel nodded weakly. "Thank you. I thought I was going to die." "Not on our watch," Maya smiled. But Rico could see the strain on her face. They'd cut this way too close. Rico's phone rang. "Tommy." "Rico, we've got a problem. Vince isn't letting this go. He just rounded up more guys. Word is he's looking for you. Man's lost it. Let him look. We're getting Daniel to his mom, and then I'm done. He's saying you made him look weak. That he can't let you walk away without consequences." Rico closed his eyes. Of course. Vince's pride was wounded, and wounded pride made men dangerous. "Where is he now?" "Heading your way. Maybe 5 minutes out." Daniel was trying to sit up. "Who's Vince?" "Nobody you need to worry about," Rico said. But his mind was racing. Sarah was 15 minutes away. Vince was 5 minutes out. They couldn't stay here, but Daniel wasn't stable enough to ride. The pharmacy was closed for the night, doors locked. They were exposed in this parking lot. "We need to move," Marcus said, reading Rico's expression. "Where?" "He can't ride yet." Maya stood. "There's a diner 2 blocks north. Public place, witnesses. Vince won't try anything stupid there." "You sure about that?" "No, but it's better than sitting in an empty parking lot." Rico looked at Daniel. "Think you can walk?" "I'll try." They helped him to his feet. He swayed but stayed upright. Maya kept one arm around him while Rico gathered his backpack. They started moving toward the diner on foot, Rico and Marcus flanking them, constantly scanning the street. Headlights appeared in the distance. "Move faster," Rico urged. The diner's neon sign glowed ahead. Rosie's, open 24 hours. They were 30 feet away when the engine sounds grew louder. Multiple bikes, approaching fast. "Run!" Marcus shouted. They burst through the diner doors just as 5 motorcycles pulled into the lot. The few customers inside looked up startled. An elderly waitress behind the counter dropped her order pad. "Call the police," Rico told her. Now, through the window, Rico watched Vince dismount. His face was twisted with rage. The other riders spread out, surrounding the diner. One pulled out a chain. Another had a tire iron. "Oh God," Daniel whispered. "This is because of me." "This is because of him," Rico corrected, nodding toward Vince. "This is about pride and ego. Not you." Vince pushed through the diner door. The bell above chimed cheerfully, absurdly normal for the tension flooding the room. "Rico," Vince's voice was steady now cold. "You and me. Outside. We settle this." "There's nothing to settle. The kid has his medicine. It's over." "It's not over until I say it's over." Vince slammed his hand on a table, making everyone jump. "You humiliated me. Made my own crew turn on me. Carlos and Benny won't even look at me now. Maybe that tells you something. It tells me you poisoned them against me." Vince's control was cracking. "We were family. We had something real. And you threw it away for what? For this." He gestured at Daniel with disgust. "For playing hero?" Rico stepped between Vince and the boy. "Yeah, I did. Because this matters more than whatever we had. This kid matters more than your pride. And if you can't see that, then you're already lost. Vince's hand went to his belt. For a horrible second, Rico thought he might pull a weapon. But instead, Vince just stood there, breathing hard, fists clenched. The cops are coming, the waitress said loudly, waving her phone. I called them. They'll be here any minute. Vince laughed bitterly. Of course you did, he looked at Rico. This isn't over. You hear me? This isn't. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Vince's crew shifted nervously. One of them tapped his arm. Man, we gotta go. We got warrants. For a long moment, Vince just stared at Rico. Years of friendship and betrayal and regret hung between them like smoke. Then Vince turned and walked out. His crew followed. Engines roared to life. By the time the first police car pulled into the lot, they were gone. Rico sagged against the counter, adrenaline finally draining. His hands were shaking again. You okay? Maya asked. No, but I will be. Two police officers entered, hands on their holsters. An older cop with gray hair took charge. Someone want to tell me what's going on? Before Rico could answer, Daniel spoke up. These people saved my life. I'm diabetic and my backpack got stolen and they found it and they helped me and he was talking too fast, words tumbling out. Slow down, son, the officer said gently. Let's start from the beginning. Through the window, Rico saw another car pull up. A woman jumped out, running toward the diner. Her face was pale, terrified, desperate. Sarah Parker had arrived. Daniel saw her through the glass. Mom! She burst through the door and Daniel ran to her, all weakness forgotten. They collided in a hug that made Rico's chest ache. Sarah was crying, checking Daniel over, touching his face like she needed to confirm he was real. I'm okay, Mom, Daniel said. I'm okay. They helped me. The bikers helped me. Sarah looked up at Rico, tears streaming down her face. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. Rico just nodded. Some promises were worth keeping. The police took statements for nearly an hour. Sarah sat with Daniel the entire time, her arm never leaving his shoulders. She explained how Daniel had gotten off at the wrong subway stop, something he'd done before when lost in a book. How she'd been frantically calling his phone until she realized he'd left it at home that morning. How she'd been minutes away from reporting him missing when Rico called. I don't know how to thank you, she said to Rico for the third time. I don't even know where to start. You don't need to thank me, Rico said. Just keep being the kind of mom who packs backup insulin in her kid's bag. Sarah's eyes filled with tears again. She squeezed his hand. The senior officer, Detective Morrison, closed his notebook. Mr. Martinez, you're free to go. We'll follow up if we need anything else. As for the assault and harassment claims against this Vince character, we'll be looking into that. His real name is Vincent Salazar, Rico said quietly. He runs an auto shop on 6th Street. But detective, he hesitated. He's not the real problem. He's just lost. Morrison studied him. Lost people can still hurt others. You did a good thing tonight, but be careful. Men like that don't forget grudges easily. Rico nodded. He knew that better than anyone. Outside, the night had grown cooler. Stars were visible between the city lights, rare for this part of town. Maya, Tommy, and Marcus were waiting by their bikes, exhausted but satisfied. Hell of a night, Tommy said. Hell of a night, Rico agreed. Daniel appeared in the doorway, his mother behind him. He was holding his backpack and looked 100 times better than he had an hour ago. Still tired, still pale, but alive. Gloriously, stubbornly alive. We're going to the hospital, Sarah said, just to make sure everything's okay. But Daniel wanted to say something first. Daniel stepped forward. He looked at Rico, then at the other bikers. Thank you. All of you. I thought. When those boys took my bag, I thought nobody would help me. Everyone just walked past. But you didn't. You stopped. Of course we stopped, Maya said gently. Not everyone would have. Daniel pulled something from his pocket, the small teddy bear keychain that had been on his backpack. I want you to have this. My dad gave it to me before he died. It's my good luck charm. And I think you need it more than me now. Rico's throat tightened. Daniel, I can't take. Please, the boy pressed it into Rico's palm. You gave me my life back. This is all I have to give. Rico looked at the worn little teddy bear, no bigger than his thumb. Its fur was matted from years of being carried everywhere. One eye was slightly loose. It was the most valuable thing he'd ever been offered. Okay, Rico said softly. I'll keep it safe. Daniel smiled, really smiled, for the first time that night. Then he did something unexpected. He stepped forward and hugged Rico. Rico froze for a moment, then slowly wrapped his arms around the boy. Over Daniel's shoulder, he saw Sarah crying again, but this time from something other than fear. When they separated, Daniel waved to all the bikers. Goodbye? Thank you. Thank you so much. Sarah loaded him into her car. As they pulled away, Daniel pressed his face to the window, waving until they turned the corner and disappeared. The parking lot fell quiet except for the hum of streetlights. You good? Maya asked. Rico looked at the teddy bear keychain in his hand, then at his phone, where Vince's contact information still sat in his list. He thought about everything that had happened tonight. The lies, the dangerous race, the confrontation. He thought about the person he used to be and the person he was becoming. He deleted Vince's number. Yeah, Rico said. I'm good. Marcus clapped him on the shoulder. Buy you breakfast? I'm starving. Nah. I need to make a call first. Rico pulled up another contact, one he hadn't used in weeks. His ex-wife. I need to talk to my son. Tell him I love him. Maybe see if I can visit next weekend. Maya smiled. That's a good idea. Rico nodded. It was past midnight now, too late to call. But tomorrow he would. Tomorrow he'd start being the father his boy deserved. The way he'd helped Daniel tonight. That's what fathers were supposed to do. Show up. Fight for what matters. Keep promises. He attached the teddy bear keychain to his motorcycle keys. It dangled there, catching the streetlight, a reminder of the night everything changed. All right, Rico said, mounting his bike. Let's get out of here. The engines roared to life in unison, not aggressive or threatening, but strong and purposeful. They pulled out of the parking lot in formation, riding through the quiet city streets. Behind them, the diner lights faded. Ahead, the road stretched open and endless. Rico didn't know what tomorrow would bring. Maybe Vince would come looking for revenge. Maybe those old ghosts would keep haunting him. But tonight, he'd saved a life. Tonight, he'd been the person he wanted to be. And that was enough. As they rode through the sleeping city, past closed shops and empty intersections, Rico felt something he hadn't experienced in years. Peace. Not the absence of conflict, but something deeper. The knowledge that when it mattered most, he'd made the right choice. The bikers disappeared into the night, their taillights like red stars against the darkness, not as outlaws or rebels, but as protectors. As proof that redemption isn't found in grand gestures or perfect lives, but in the simple, powerful choice to help someone who needs it. The city slept. But somewhere in it, a boy was safe with his mother. And that made all the difference.